Prismatic. What everybody wants to talk about. Such a beautiful product, huh? Such a beautiful ETB. Nice, clean, white. You got the EV terrestrial thing. Such a clean product. Everybody wants to talk about Prismatic. Guys, how is this even a discussion? Prismatic is probably the best investment you can make at this moment. Too many of you are listening to a guy who works for Team Rocket, okay? Team Rocket is clouding your minds, clouding your judgment that Prismatic was ever going to go to MSRP. You know, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Even then, you should still be buying it. You should still be buying it. $90 for Prismatic or $140 for Prismatic. I don't care. I was talking about Prismatic literally like every week in my videos since it released for several months, and then I just quit because every time I talk about it, I'd get comments of like, you're telling people to buy Prismatic at 120, 130, 115. Just wait, just wait. You know, it could still go down, but even still, if you buy it at 140 today, at some point, you will make money on Prismatic. Like, it is going to 100% be above a $200 ETB, and most likely well above $300, $400, $500. Give it a few years' time. You know, I'm not talking short term. I'm never talking short term on this channel, really, for the most part. It's just wild to me. Like, there were so many people that I just stopped talking about Prismatic. I was like, we'll just wait and see. We'll wait and see till the days come, and the day's here. Prismatic, I think, will still have more waves of reprints. We've had a lot of reprints of Prismatic ETBs. Like, they've gotten a lot of Prismatic on the shelves, but it's such a desired set that the demand has still been so high, they still can't bring these prices down. So, here we go. Prismatic back up to 140 per ETB. These things are selling about 100 every 3 days or so on TCG Player by the looks of it. It's an interesting thing because to me, this looks like an obvious buy. It looked like an obvious buy when it released, 2 months after release, 3 months after release, and everybody just started thinking for some reason that this was just going to keep going down. Like, when it got to $90 to $100, that was a pretty good price point there, guys. So let's take a look at this. So Prismatic, 138. We got one listed at 140. Is there any in the 130s? We'll get past all this junk here. No, 140 now is the lowest listed for Prismatic ETB that you're going to find. And the sales data has tapered off a little bit with the price going up in the past month or so. This could definitely see another drop off. Like, we could see this go up and then we could see this start to go down a little bit and level up around the 120 area again. Because I genuinely do feel there will be more Prismatic reprints for the next year, probably 2 years, maybe even longer. Who knows? We're still seeing 151 get restocked every once in a while as well, like the little poster collections and whatnot, but not 151 ETBs. So that's an interesting thing to point out. But one reason why I wanted to make this video is let's just take a look at other Sword and Shield and even, or not Sword and Shield, sorry, Scarlet and Violet specialty sets, and even one Sword and Shield specialty set and their ETB prices. I would say we all consider Prismatic to be one of the best sets, if not the best Pokemon set of recent time and maybe of all time. You know, it's got all the evolutions. Everybody loves the evolutions. Some tougher pull rates, and it has been very sought after ever since release. These ETBs, we are actually nearing 1 year of Prismatic, actually, in 2 months. 2 months from almost right now, actually. 2 months. It'll be, well, maybe 3 months. 3 months. October, yeah, it'll be technically 3. So 3 months, we got one more quarter of a year, and it's a year old. It's 3/4 of a year old now. And it's 140 per ETB. But let's take a look at other specialty sets that are inherently worse of a set. They and Fates, 283 market price. Okay, so it's more than or just about double in price. 151, $400 per ETB. $400. Crown Zenith, 226 per ETB. These are other specialty sets, couple Sword and Shield era, one of them, or Scarlet and Violet, keep mixing them up, one of them Sword and Shield. Why would Prismatic not reach 200? Long term, it will. Long term, Prismatic will cross $200 at one point. That's why I only brought up these specialty sets, because specialty set ETBs do end up getting higher quicker than the booster box sets. Like Surging Sparks is like $76 per ETB right now. Those aren't a good comparison. You really need to look at specialty sets and look at these other specialty sets compared to Prismatic. All of them nearly double. This one's not quite there. But Prismatic is what we'd all consider the better set, and it's cheaper. So give it a couple years, it should be pretty expensive. AKA a good investment. So I also brought up the price points here. So Crown Zenith has a total set value of $1,750. Okay, not bad. 151 is actually lower at about $1,300. Okay. Paldean Fates has a pretty high set value, carried heavily by Bubble Mew, $1,800. Okay, so these are all more expensive, have a pretty good set value, all above 1,000. A couple by 1,800. What's Prismatic set value at? 4,700. 4,700 set value after 9 months of release. I also get comments about the set value dropping. Of course, it's going to drop. This was like at release. Of course, it's going to drop after release, but this is held pretty steadily. Umbreon's still around that $1,000 range. It's not completely carried by Umbreon. Umbreon doesn't even make up 25% of the total set value. You got all these other special illustrations here that are worth a lot of money, and then of course you got the Master Ball Hollows that make up a pretty good chunk. I mean, these are all about $20 each for these Master Balls, and even more for some of these normal Pokeballs too. So the set value here is insane still to this day, and the products are cheaper. It is the newest product here, so I'm not acting like it's older or something and this is like a revolutionary thing. It is kind of revolutionary in my eyes, but this is a newer product. However, the set value still well and far above these guys, and these are still only $140 each. Yes, there may be reprints. Yes, these could go back down to 100. If these go down to 100 tomorrow, I'm not even going to feel bad about saying to buy them at 140, because if you hold on to them for 2 years, you'll be above 140. I'm not. I was about to say something rash, but I'd say 2 years is a good holding point for these at least. I mean, I think any Pokemon investment, a 2-year holding point is a good thing to have, at least as a baseline. I like to keep it much longer than that, but with the market we have, we see so many people and they're just kind of flipping stuff. They're probably holding on to some stuff for like a couple months, or like Mega Evolution. A lot of people are just flipping their boxes or their booster boxes as soon as they get them from the pre-orders, because they're $300 and you can almost double your money. And that's fair enough. Everybody can do what they want to do. For Prismatic, I think at 140 is still a great buy if you're going to hold it for a few years. And if it is only $250, let's say it's $250 per box 2 years from now, that's a $90 increase, or $110 increase. Sorry, $110 increase in 2 years. That still outperforms like every stock you could buy. You could outperform a lot of crypto. I know crypto is a bit exponential sometimes, but $110 per box in 2 years, so you're averaging about $55 gains per year. I feel like that's pretty good. And now that's all rough numbers. Like, of course, you have the percentages or whatever whenever you sell them. If you have to sell it at 80% at a card shop or something, or you sell it off of eBay, eBay takes their fees. So it's not exactly a $110 gain, but you get the point I'm trying to make, right? I think Prismatic ETBs are still a great investment. I never stop buying these things. I never stop buying them. When they're 90, when they're 100, when they're 140, when they're 125. Back in May, there was that May 10% sale. I bought a couple of these at like 120, and then a month later they dropped down to like $190. I wasn't tripping over my spending, because I know at some point, whether or not I spend it or I buy them at 90 or 120 or 140, it'll be worth more than that. So I have complete faith in this investment of these ETBs, that they'll be worth more than what I'm buying them at right now, even at 140. So if you're here for small gains of like, yeah, you buy it at $100, now it's 140, let me sell it off, you go ahead and do that. But if you want to have gains similar to this, where you could have bought these for whatever MSRP was, $50 or whatnot, and now they're $400 just a couple years later, you hold on to these suckers for a while. Now, of course, I must say this is not financial advice at all. I'm just telling you guys what I think, and that's all I do on this channel is I try to tell you the truth of what is coming out of my brain. I never try to make anything stuff up and say whether or not, or try to just false advertise stuff. I say truly what I think, and for the most part, I've been pretty correct. So that's my take on Prismatic, at least. I feel like Prismatic is a great purchase, and I just had to come on here and yap about it because I just feel like too many people are listening to others say that these are just going to get printed into the ground. You know what? Let them print it into the ground, because then you can buy more for cheaper. That's all what we want, right? Let them print it into the ground so we can buy more for cheaper, and then 5 years from now, instead of 2 years, we can sell them off and make even more money. I'm fine with that. You know, I love to bring this up. When this was not Booster Box, this was Alpha Investments who said this, of how he got offered these Lost Origin ETBs when the market was at its worst, and they're like trying to fire sell these away because nobody wanted to buy these. And that was when the market was at its worst. There was no demand for these, and they got a massive reprint when there was no demand. And even then, they've made a good comeback and are now at 150. And this has not even been three. I think Lost Origin, I looked at this like last video. I think it came out like 2022. It's not even been 3 full years. And they've already made a great rebound with the worst possible market conditions. That is why I don't care if Prismatic drops to 60 or if it never does, because it's still, you buy it now, you'll be able to sell it off for more in the future. That's all I'll say. Thanks for tuning into my TED Talk.